Yo, welcome back to another video. It's your boy Coreythemaan. We back in it. Let's get it.
So this week's episode of Raw started with that damn crown jewel belt again, and some people that are like taking care of it and protecting it. I want to know, who are these people and who paid them to do it? We then saw Seth Rollins walking out of an elevator, and I have many questions. Who the hell knew he was going to be in there and decided to film him? Also, hello, my friends. Welcome to Ups and Downs. You're going to be so mad at me. I don't even care, man. I can already hear the comments. Oh, Simon, you're such a nerd. You're such a mark. Have you seen what I do with my life? Of course I am. That's right. I'm wearing a title on my shoulder, and this is the Proteus Championship from Progress Wrestling, which somehow I did indeed win over the weekend. Not gonna lie, I think it may have been the best moment of my life. And if you did come to the show, or if you did send me a message on the internet, I just want to say thank you very much. The term overwhelmed is kind of overused in 2024, but I promise you this, I was damn overwhelmed. So am I going to wear this all the time on Ups and Downs? Yes. Yes, I am. And also, I'm going to say this, as we do get way too self-indulgent. Other people can review wrestling. I'm out there doing it. I've also got my Ups and Downs bracelets on, which people also gifted me. Now, let's stop talking about this bored a-hole. Even I'm getting a bit bored of it. Now, let's up those championship downs. Now, I really like the fact that when Raw did begun, Joe Tessitore mentioned that Trick Williams had retained his belt at NXT Halloween Havoc, and we should do more of that. When we launched into a big old video, we were talking about the Intercontinental title and the Bloodline and the tag team titles. Because, of course, even though it's October 2024, the Bloodline still reigns supreme. I mean, it's essentially the brand new never-ending story, which is why Jey Uso came to the ring. He's like, man, I've had a tough week. I did lose my belt. Then I cost other people their belts. So he's like reverse Batman. He then said there's only one person he wanted to talk to, which was Jimmy Uso. And as per Wrestling Rule 14.8, he walked to the ring. Actually, Jey was very lucky that Jimbo was here, because he's a SmackDown guy. What would he done if he wasn't at Raw? Now, Jimmy did indeed thank Jey for coming to SmackDown last week, so let's break that down. He was saying, thanks for coming to my show to stop our own family retaining their belts, because we don't like them, and we need to get the original family back together. Doesn't sound dysfunctional at all. They also need to come back together because they're not the ones anymore, which is a tremendous sentence. And let's not forget too, if this does end, where it obviously is going to end, they're also going to return to that emotional manipulator Roman Reigns. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Did you know that the vast majority of self-published books don't sell more than a few copies? Well, the one thing
They also talked about how much had happened since WrestleMania, in the sense that nobody mistakes them for twins anymore, because they do have their separate identities. And Jey Uso won the Intercontinental title. That was about it. I mean, Mania was about 6 months ago. Doesn't feel like much has happened at all. The most important part is that they're brothers, though, and Jimmy heard that. He was like, oh man, I'm gonna give you a hug. But Jey stopped him, and I appreciated that. This is the story beat that we did need, because Jey then said to Jimmy, listen, man, if we are gonna do this, we ain't yes men no more, and we stand on our own 2 feet. No peg legs. Now, Roman is not gonna like that because he is crazy. When Jimmy invited Jey to SmackDown, I was like, bro, come here. You don't need to do that. People just turn up anyway. When, of course, who was here to prove my point? It was the Bloodline 2.0, and they kicked everybody's ass. And Solo goes outside of the ring, and he was directing traffic. But as always, he never got directly involved himself. Jacob Fatu was then going to finish off Jey Uso with the hip attack, but Jey got a chair and threw it at this guy when the Usos hit all the super kicks, so they are back together again like Captain Planet, and they sent these guys packing. It meant Adam Pearce and the pointless security guards then had to come to the ring. Poor Adam. We're only 20 minutes into Raw, and he likely already needs a drink. It really is good stuff, though, and if you do want spoilers, I mean, it's out there anyway. Of course they're going to go back together, and they're going to have a match at Crown Jewel. Some people are going, oh man, we're really rushing this. It started 4 years ago. I don't think we're rushing nothing. Let's get it up. Adam Pearce then rang Nick Aldis and was all like, oh man, how did you let these people here? I said you could send Jimmy, but not the Bloodline. I was like, dude, I don't think they control anything. When the Judgment Day proved they have no sense of timing, because they walked in and started to talk to the GM. That's right. I put my belt back on. I would hate me too. Pierce was so mad he revealed the mystery straight away and was like, oh, fine, Dominic Mysterio. You are going to be facing a former champion later, and you know what? It is going to be Damian Priest. And Carlito's big plan to try and stop this was to go, well, that ain't cool. It's like, Carl, great work. Dom didn't care though, because he knows Damian Priest and he can beat him. And do you know who didn't like this? Finn Balor. In fact, he was very mad to the point he walked off the screen. Something is coming. Before Balor stormed out too, he even said they don't call him Punishment for Nothing, which is a Ring of Honor reference. So maybe we are about to split the Judgment Day up. Actually, all things considered, and we will talk about this later, maybe it is time. When for some reason we got Ludwig Kaiser, Bowser's son, taking on Sheamus. Now, I'm sure there was a justification, but also, I don't care, because when these two people meet, I have a good time. Now, I sort of think what we should do here, given that Sheamus did get the win, is start this big Intercontinental title push that maybe culminates at WrestleMania 41, because do not forget, the only championship that Sheamus has never won is the IC belt, so you could tell that story. And if he did get the victory, we can all do the dance of joy. And if Bron Breakker beats him, well, that's a massive scalp for Bron Breakker. They locked up as we got some chops because they are pure meatiness. When I think Sheamus need Ludwig Kaiser right in the neck. I was like, who needs somebody in the neck? Ludwig then came back with a clothesline when he had a much more dastardly plan, and he used Rita the ring post. Always, the referee didn't care about this, so if I was a wrestler, I would actually bring a metal post into the ring, and I'd twonk somebody on the head, and if the official tried to DQ me, I'd be like, excuse me, what's the difference between this and Rita? And I'd do this with my hand. Kaiser was then working on the arm because screw that limb, when we were using Rita the ring post again. When do you know what got involved? The most powerful force in all of sports entertainment, the commercial break. Because when we came back from the advert, of course, Sheamus was running wild. So we should keep a tally about all of this in terms of this week's episode of Raw, the commercials like baby faces. Kaiser must have been studying though, because he was able to dodge the bro kick, which meant Sheamus fell out of the ring. But you do not want to be in that predicament, because soon after this, the Irishman was able to wiggle his hips, and he got the 10 beats of the Bodran, whatever it's called. I don't know.
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store.
Ludwig then murdered him with a bomb of power, but he only got a 1-2-ooh. And Sheamus was like, I just want to go home. So he kneed this guy right in the face, and he hit the bro kick, and he beat him for the 1-2-3. So this did feel like a big win, and I am going to give it an up, because I just enjoy two big dudes smashing each other. I do have this extra bracelet too that I forgot to wear, but this is the golden up bracelet, right? So I can't wear this. I should have started pointing to my wrists. Very strange conversation, because this is up and this is down. This is golden up, you see? So we can't hold this one. You understand. Then had a quick video with Rhea Ripley telling Liv Morgan she is totally sick of her and she wants to win her world championship back. And the only way this is not going to happen is if Liv kills her. That's quite a thing to say. Now this was totally fine, but once again, if we do look at the Judgment Day as a whole, I just think we do need to do the Rhea Ripley-Liv Morgan match and give Rhea her championship and just move into other things. Not a problem, nothing bad about it. It has just run its course. That's professional wrestling, and that's what happens. Also though, before we do draw a line under it, either on Saturday night's main event or on the first Raw on Netflix, we should do Dom Dom versus Rhea. We just should. That's what everybody wants. Give it to me. When Raw got super interesting. Because the Usos did indeed bump into Sami Zayn, which has to be the end game. That rhymes, so it must be true. But in terms on this night, well, it's not going well at all. Now, Sami wanted to speak to Jay alone, and Jimmy just left. Like this wasn't a problem. When Zayn looked at Jay and said, what the flub are you doing? He doesn't get why Jay wants to be so happy, lovey-dovey with Roman Reigns, given everything he put him through and the emotional manipulating. Jay was like, nah, man, you don't get it, dude. Solo Sikoa is the worst of the two. So, you know, we got to do what we have to do. Now, Sami disagreed because Jay doesn't need to be involved in any of this. You're a man. You're out there winning Intercontinental Championships. You got the whole yeet thing. It doesn't matter what the lesser of two evils are. You just need to stay put. Now, Jay actually did understand where Sami was coming from because he doesn't understand you're not family, man. So this isn't getting you in your tum-tum. But, of course, this is what they used to fall out over years ago. And Sami Zayn did get it. So all of this is going to blow up in a big powder keg. So all of this is hitting like crack. Actually, it's very nuanced, and there's a lot of depth to it, because if you have been watching this since day one, well, you can swim in it like an ocean, And don't worry, there's more. It was straight to another video after this though, because Gunther was here. It was like, Cody Rhodes, you are completely gutless. Cody has also dragged Randy Orton into all of this as well. This made me chuckle, because the ring general was like, actually, you should go talk to Orton, because he can give you a piece of advice, and he can tell you what it's like to be choked out by me. The end of all of this, though, is post-Crown Jewel, where Gunther will be the #1 champion and Cody Rhodes will be the #2 champion. Listen, Gunther was great here, but he just summarized what does annoy me about this match. If Gunther pins Cody Rhodes, he should come out of Raw and go, well, can I have a WWE Championship match then, please? I just beat the guy. But we have talked about that and we don't need to talk about it again. And also, I'm giving a round of applause to Cody and Gunther, because they probably know that this was a little bit silly Billy, but my word, they have done as good as they possibly could with this. When Ivy Nile took on Zelina Vega, this felt very random. It kind of felt a bit weird. Now, Vega must have felt the same because she slapped Ivy right around the face. So Nile was like, you don't get to do that to me. And man, she grabbed Zelina Vega, who obviously is quite small. She was hurling her around the ring like she was a child. Don't throw children. Vega soon used her Street Fighter powers in order to hit a meteor off the apron when the most powerful force in all of sports entertainment, the commercial break, did strike. Actually, Zelina did totally cool with this, and she was still able to bust out a moonsault. Ivy kicked out of this, and she was able to hit a German suplex when Zelina Vega did come back with a knee. But that's when the Creeds, who were on the outside, decided, hey, referee, we're going to distract you. And given that the LWO were there too, everybody started to fight. It meant that Zelina wasn't able to hit her code red, so Ivy Nile hit her swinging Uranagi instead, and she got the 1, 2, 3. That's a bit like, that's a really strange finish. It kind of didn't climax at all. So we do need to keep our eye on this, and it was good that American Made finally had a serious position on Raw, which ties into later too. But I'm kind of in the middle with this. It kind of did feel like it was just there. However, I like the fact that we did highlight Ivy Nile and Zelina Vega. They could use more TV time, so that's an up. But yeah, overall, the crowd wasn't really into it, and repeating myself, but it was sort of just there. I'm going to give it a down. Also, when it comes to the Creeds, they're a bit like background furniture. We were then in the back once again after this with the Bloodline, and Jimmy was being a nosy Ned. He was like, oh, hi, Jay. How'd it go with Sami Zayn? Now, the answer is not good. When Jay was like, man, it's because he's not family, and Jimmy was like, yeah, he's not family. I told you that before. When, of course, Jay's instinct kicked in, he was like, listen, be nice to Sam, because secretly I love him.
Thanks to Google Play Games, we're taking our mobile gaming to the next level. We can now play Cookie Run Tower of Adventures on our phones and then continue playing.
Jimbo feels like he could help by talking to Sam. Jay was like, please don't do that. Listen, once again, we've gone back to the future. Jimbo thinks he can do it, so that's what he went off to do. This is going to end badly. Seth Rollins was then walking backstage and decided, actually, if I pivot left, I can go to the ring. So he did. He talked about hunting for monsters, so I bet someone from Capcom woke up in their bed and was like, wait a minute, we need to send a cease and desist. But actually, everything with Bronson Reed has made him realize he used to be a monster too, and he misses that guy. It just means that Seth feels like a man reborn. When Bronson Reed popped up on the big screen, he was like, listen, mate, Adam Pearce asked me not to come into the arena, but he didn't say that I could stand out in the parking lot, so I'm waiting for you. That's like, one, Bronson, what the flub happened to your accent? And two, I think you're kind of mucking around with the rules. Rollins totally obliged though, and he went out there, and the use of security cards did nothing. And of course, straight away Bronson was grabbing Rollins, and he was throwing him into cars. That's his new favorite thing to do. Seth knew that these kind of things are all about escalation though, because then he was getting van doors and slamming into Bronson Reed's head, and he even gave him a curb stomp on a bonnet. Bronson was like, that didn't do anything to me, and he was back on his feet instantly. Rollins then panicked and he threw a box-like structure at Bronson, who came back with a massive trash can. When they got in this trailer, and essentially Reed gave Seth Rollins a DVD through all these tables and rubble that was on the floor. And I was like, well, that's it, Seth Rollins is dead. So this was a really good brawl, and listen, even though Bronson was on top here, he has to win at the pay-per-view because we have done such good work with him the last couple of months, and he cannot possibly lose round one. Bronson Reed is so damn fun at the moment though, and of course Seth Rollins feels like a massive deal, so I'm pumped about all of this, and it's just entertaining, man. That's why I'm watching. The secret best part of this too is that when Seth was storming to the back, he took off his blue jacket to reveal he was wearing a blue jacket. This is the 2024 version of Sting wearing a Sting mask and taking off the Sting mask to reveal Sting Please never stop. R-Truth was then talking to the Alpha Academy. He was like, listen, I really prefer you guys without that short, angry man that used to yell all the time. Made me laugh. Otis then screamed Master Gable, so Truth said you can't say that on TV. So put the kids to bed. We just made a masturbation joke. Don't get mad at me, that's what happened. Miz then walked in, and of course now he's terrified of the Wyatts. He was like, Truth, I was only kidding the last few weeks. You're my family, man, and I love you. Do you remember when we won the tag team titles at WrestleMania? We don't need to worry about the fact I stabbed you in the back. Let's remember the good times instead. Thankfully, Maxine jumped in and said, don't listen to him. And this did make me chuckle here. He was like, oh yeah, why don't you listen to Snow White and the Two Dorks? That is the lamest insult I've ever heard. But actually, lame insults are really funny. Truth had actually stopped Otis and Tozawa from murdering the Miz. That's because he went, hey man, I do agree with you. Then he punched him in the face. I was genuinely elated. This is what I want from my baby faces. Don't be stupid and don't trust the evil people. He also wished Miz luck with the Wyatts, which was a good line. When he left and he saw Pete Dunne, he went, hey Butch, have you seen Pete? As always, R-Truth is my hero. When we had a everybody needs to win this match, that's really tough. It was also to determine the brand new number one contenders for the Raw Tag Team titles. And good grief, do we need to do something with them? They're basically like ghosts these days. But it was the War Raiders taking on the New Day, taking on the LWO. And it was super duper good fun times 9,000. Now Xavier Woods was just being a tyrant too because he didn't give a damn. And at one point Dragon Lee was going to get the tag from Rey Mysterio, but Xavier stopped him and pulled him to the outside. Now one, fair play to Woods, that's very brave because Dragon Lee is a dragon, he could have set him on fire. But two, as Xavier told everybody, don't get mad at me, I'm just trying to win the match. It's true. Kofi Kingston was able to get in there though, and he was dropping legs on Ivar and Rey Mysterio, because why wouldn't you do that? And after he had smashed Mysterio with the SOS, everybody just went dive, 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 dive. When Kofi was like, well, I have the best dive, and he did the trust fall. Finally, the Dragon did get in there, and he just burned everybody alive. Actually, he just cut Kofi's ribs, and he hit a DDT on Ivar. And given that Eric was basically chilling, he was like, well, I'm going to get involved now. And because the War Raiders are massive, they just flattened everyone. They really are better as these guys too, and they're also wearing less fur, which is a plus. When we just got Bombs of Powers, Hurricane Ranas, and Xavier Woods breaking up all the pins, he doesn't want to lose. Actually, it was a massive success as well because the New Day were able to hit their finisher. But when Woods went to the top rope, he saw Ray trying to get back in the ring. So he ran at him, and Mysterio was like, all right, well, he just opened the ropes, and Xavier fell to the outside. Now, Wade Barrett was like, what do you want him to do? You can't ignore Ray. But there was something about this, and I think we got to keep our eye on it. Mysterio taking his med pack too, so he was able to hit the 619 on Kofi. When Chad Gable just turned up and put him in the ankle lock, where the flub did he come from? Given that he was doing on the outside as well, that was a forever ankle lock, so Rey Mysterio will never walk again. So the War Raiders basically went shrug emoji, they grabbed Kofi, and they gave him that German suplex slam clothesline thingamajig, and they pinned him 1, 2, 3. They are the number one contender. So Kofi was just having a terrible night, although we did get the right winners here, so I am going to give it an up. But I did turn into Nerd Miller here. It happens every now and then. I was like, man, if you just brought the War Raiders back and you're pitching them like this kind of a team, and they're going to go on to take on the champions, I kind of think they should have just won. I don't think we needed shenanigans here, so that's getting it down. Also, if that annoyed you, probably turn off the video now, because I am going to talk about this again later. I'm sorry, but look, I'm doing that 9-year-old thing, that kid thing, where you put your shoulders up, and that's meant to act as a barrier of protection.
It's about time.
Miz was then moaning to Pierce, saying, why is nobody going to protect me? The Wyatts are going to murder my ass. When the final testament walked in, Miz was like, I've got a plan. Why don't we run away? Karen Cross was like, nope. What we're going to do is find the Wyatts, otherwise I'm going to break your leg. So he's now realised he's made a terrible choice, and Karen is a psychopath, but also, bring it down, there is the crime counter. I checked and I asked a few people. You're not allowed to walk around saying you're going to break people's legs. It's considered an offence. So the Miz has chosen an awful new friend when we got our big bloodline twist of the night. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you went, oh my gosh, you had water coming out of your seeing devices. Because as the Usos were leaving the building for the night because they're super cool and don't have to wait until the end of the show, they stared off into the distance, and who did they see Sami Zayn talking to? Solo Sikoa. Dun, dun, dun. Now, Jay acted like his first girlfriend had just stabbed him in the heart, whereas Jimmy was like, I told you, man, it's all about family. And this was actually so damn smart because, once again, spoilers, on this week's episode of SmackDown, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso do get back together. And even if Jay didn't want to do this, you've been sad before, you've been upset. Sometimes when you are a little bit depressed, all of a sudden you do take bad choices because you ain't thinking about it properly. When it comes to Sammy, on the other hand, though, he's totally justified because he always got on with Solo Sikoa. In fact, Solo was always very nice to him. So he is actually doing the family thing and he's trying to get everybody back on the same page. So you can't be mad at him either. The greatest part of this too is after Jimmy told him this, Jay just went yeet. Listen, I really like the yeet thing, but in terms of a normal human conversation, that is not a proper response. So this is just a massive up and it gets me so damn excited. And again, this is where a lot of people were crying, oh, it's moving too fast. By that token, it will be 2028 by the time we end this, and I'll probably be dead by then. So let's not do that. When we got to our main event, and yes, this feeling hit me right at the tootsie toe, so let's just get it out of the way, and I'm sorry, you're gonna be mad, but you're allowed to be mad. Just think we need to get this stuff done. And yes, it is still cool, but it's just life. Everything between the Judgment Day and the Terror Twins, well, it's peaked. It hits the roof. And given that we were doing Damian Priest versus Dominic Mysterio here, which I did enjoy, that was the overwhelming sensation I did have. It's time to move on. That's it. It's like an ex-girlfriend. Now, it has been of huge assistance to everybody because they all feel like megastars coming out of the fact. We've already talked about Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio, but I am just going to give that a mini down. But then look, I'm going to flip it on its head because in terms of a main event, thought it was pretty damn fun. Dominic Mysterio knows what he's doing too because he hit a dive to trigger the commercial break. Although, then he tried to hit the Three Amigos, and of course, on the second one, Damian Priest stopped it. So I'm not calling it the Three Amigos anymore. I'm going to call it the Two Amigos, then I go and screw up. He was able to hit the Falcon Arrow though, when he was so mad, he grabbed Dom and just threw him over Alan the announce table. So, of course, here came Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, but they were casting distraction because the referee was like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Carlito and JD McDonough were here. And they tried to attack Damian Priest, but I can't lie, I do enjoy the booking of Damian. He was just like, no, and he whooped their ass. And when the officials saw this happening, he was all annoyed. And I was like, dude, what is the problem here? Like, do you want Damian Priest to go up and give him a hug and give him a kiss? No, that wouldn't make any sense. It also served as another distraction though, which meant we had a distraction, which was then going to cause another distraction. So surely now we're all being pulled into the Phantom Zone. And Dominic Mysterio and his moustache realized this. So he hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, surprise roll-up, and he held the tights. And damn it, he got the 1, 2, 3. So he is a massive dickhead. Priest was so mad, he just killed him with the razor's edge. Then when all the other guys tried to get in there too, he just ruined them all with chokeslams. The rest of the Judgment Day eventually helped their fallen comrades, but interestingly, Finn Balor was not here. So again, I think something is up. So yes, when you do throw it all into a little package too, Dom getting a victory like that and Damian looking like a beast, of course I'm going to give it an up. Again, both things can be true. With that said, here's the annoying bit. WWE is still way too obsessed with distractions and shenanigan finishes. Because they did this last week as well, to the point now I'm expecting it. Like, there were 4 matches on this show, and only Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser ended in a clean win. So we've just gone too far in the opposite direction. I mean, once again, WWE had moved away from this for ages, but now, like the Terminator, it is back. And it's my brain, man. I can't help it. Once it does get in there, I can't get it back out of there again. Like, I take my hand, I try and pull it. I'm not able to, so that part's got to get it down. Doesn't mean Raw is an entertaining show. It is. It just has kind of fallen into a little bit of a pattern. Otherwise, though, I thought this episode was decent. I am going to put a lot of blame on Crown Jewel, because there are stories we have to be patient and wait for, but we've got to get through that pay-per-view premium live event first. But look, I'm still going to give it an up. It was a good 2 hours for me. I am that guy. People getting so mad about the 120-minute running time. In terms of this bald idiot, I absolutely love it. Now, of course, the most important part is to let me know in the comments below what you thought about Raw and how annoyed you are about this. As we have got to the end of the video, so I do have more time, it genuinely means the world to me. People could call me a geek and a nerd or a mark, but I am all of
Okay. Anyway.